Would it be a situation where maybe in the coming days, by Monday, when the federal government has said the president would unveil the package for workers, it would be a situation where the federal government throws a bone to the NLC or to the labor unions and they back down on the proposed strike? What are your thoughts?
Good morning, Abuja. Good morning, Nigerians. It is a privilege for us to be here to discuss the issues, the ongoing issues of Nigeria as it pertains labor and all the other issues of the country. One thing we cannot take away is the fact that NLC has been very, very vocal in trying to champion the issues that pertains to workers. The issues in question is not an issue that we are not in the know of. It's not an issue that is strange or new to Nigerians. The fact remains that the government have proven to be very, very insensitive. 29th of May 2023, the president made a pronouncement that subsidy is gone without any form of consideration on the impact of that pronouncement of the larger Nigerian state. Today, the pump price of fuel have been increased 2 times. And now here we are, the wage of workers, the suffering and hardship, the hyperinflation in the country has not been addressed in any form, other than the issue of sharing of cost of rice, because that is what most states tend to get. Most individuals, supposed vulnerable persons, tend to get cups of rice. That cannot in any way be referred to as palliative, because it does not in any way measure up to what palliative is all about. Having said that, the Labour have given the government so much time to see what the government can do. At the early hours of this issue that has bedeviled Nigeria, the government tried to constitute some form of kangaroo committee, which Labour was part of. Unfortunately, the leadership of the Labour have accused the government of avoiding the meeting and not even calling for a meeting. The national president of NLC, Comrade Joe Ajaero, has been very vocal about this issue, such that the government have avoided even holding the meeting. And even after that, the threat by the NLC and TUC for a national strike, the government decided to get court injunction restraining the NLC from strike action, which the NLC obeyed to an extent. And upon the expiration of every other thing, the government still failed to even hold a meeting or even come up with any reasonable headway for anything to be done in respect to the Nigerians and workers. Having said that, again, the warning strike was embarked upon by the NLC. The government came on board to say, let's see what we can do. The Minister of Labour, Simon Lalong, tried to hold a meeting, and all that has the Minister of Labour have been saying in the few meetings that they have had with the NLC has been that give us time. Unfortunately, this will be 4 months after the popular pronouncement, and unfortunately nothing has been done. Having said that, the NLC now is saying we are going on strike on Tuesday, 3rd October. What is the government doing? Do you know, as it is now, the government has not said anything meaningful, other than the fact that they are saying that they will hold a meeting with the NLC on Tuesday. Again, I can imagine, and in fact, I can envision what the president will do come October 1st. What the president will do is the same thing he did May 29. He will now make a pronouncement of certain package that this is what it will be. But I love the fact that NLC and TUC are very strong on this. I love their stand on this. You don't make a pronouncement on issues of workers without their consultation. And this is the bone of contention. Whatever it is that you want to have for the workers, let them be part of the negotiation. Because that is what trade unionism exists for. social dialogue, negotiation, collective bargaining. Unfortunately, these governments have been acting arbitrarily, without consideration, without recourse to why trade union exists. What you need to do is to first say, okay, these are the parties. This is what I am proposing. They also look at it. This is what we are bringing to the table. By the time you bring it, the both parties present, there will be some level of compromise, and then they will accept. Unfortunately, that is not what the president is going to do. Mark my words. October 1st, that is what the president will do. He will make a presentation that this is what he is presenting to the Nigerian workers. Accept it or leave it. And I tell you, I love the stand of the NLC and TUC that no matter what the president will present, it will not stop the strike, because it is a complete neglect of the stance of the Nigerians. It is a complete neglect of the stance of trade unionism in all its spheres and ramifications. So, one thing I foresee, and one thing I am happy about, is the fact that they have made it very clear. And I love the stand of the current leadership, that no matter what, strike will continue. There will be a total shutdown of Nigeria, because the government have proven to be very insensitive to the plight of Nigerians, to the plight of the workforce.
Now, there are those who argue that, the country, the labor and even the civil servants in this country should understand with the government that the economy isn't in a good place right now. There's a lot of debts. There is, foreign exchange crisis that we're dealing with. Just yesterday or so, it was revealed that the Afreximbank, which the federal government, through the NNPC, had taken a loan for $3 billion to, against Nigeria's crude oil, are also looking for those who looking for the monies to support Nigeria with the forex that it needs. At this point, it seems like the economy is in shambles. Some people believe that if NLC goes on this strike, it would further exacerbate the issue and worsen the plight of the ordinary Nigerian. What are your thoughts in that regard?
Nacho, why must it always be the man on the street? Why must it always be that the man on the street should pay the ultimate sacrifice? Why should it always be that the worker should be the one to pay the sacrifice for the things that he did not know about? Here we have a Nigeria whose economy has been run aground by the few microscopic elite without recourse to the plight. The last administration, we went about collecting loans from everywhere we can collect loans from, without reflection on the economy. We went about borrowing money from everywhere without ensuring that these things we are collecting reflect in our daily livelihood and even in the economy. So, who should now bear the blame? NLC, TUC have made a position right before now that our refineries should be fixed. Why is this so much an issue that we cannot fix our refinery? But yet we have a government that sank about almost $2.9 billion in a privately owned refinery, Dangote refinery. Your own government, this same government you and I have in this so-called Nigeria, sank that amount of money in a private owned company. But we have refused to fix our own refinery. Yet we import, and that is why we are where we are. But having said all of this, the point is this: we have had reckless leadership. Leadership that does not have any consideration for the plight of the masses. And that is where we are. Again, we have had members of National Assembly, political elected officers across the length and breadth of this country who are collecting humongous amounts packages. But when it comes to the issue of the poor man, they tell you to pay the ultimate sacrifice, that the economy is in bad shape. I guess you should be looking at them. They should learn to cut down the cost of governance. Let them cut down their packages. Else they have no moral rectitude or justification to come to tell Nigerians that the economy is in bad shape. Who made the economy what it is today? when we kept formulating and dishing out policies without any recourse to the implications.
Now let's look at the fact that with all of what the Nigerians are going through, it seems like the demands by the NLC, some people have said, are really outrageous and unrealistic, calling for wage increment at the same time seeking what you call it now. Tax waivers, which the IMF yesterday has said the federal government should even seize, to offer all of these tax waivers. It makes it a little difficult because if the federal government is going to increase wages and salaries and also, grant tax waivers to certain cadre of civil servants, where would the federal government get all the monies to fund and pay the wages even when they're increased?
The federal government does not lack the money to pay, but what the federal government does is that they have not for once prioritized the issues of the workers, the issues of the average Nigerian. What the NSC, what the trade unions are asking for is just wage award. That you decided to increase the pump price of fuel without consideration for over 300% increase. They are asking for some level of wage award. They are asking for the alternatives for the economy, the alternatives to fuel. They are asking for the adoption of certain pragmatic measures that will, to an extent, be some form of respite to Nigerians. To say that the federal government have no money, is a popular issue. It is even we have been hearing that before now. No government has ever accepted that we have money. But when it comes to the issue of the workers, the issue of the man and woman on the street, the government does not have money. But they have money to appropriate to themselves. They have money to get for themselves to renovate all manner of things that does not need renovation. So it is not right. You don't tell the man on the street that you don't have money when he is suffering, when you dish out policies that are unfavorable, that are making the situation worse than they ought to be. It does not make any sense to say that they don't have money. If in the reality they have not been living in that life that there is no money. More so, IMF, World Bank, or whatsoever Bretton Woods institution there is, the point is that they will always bring about, but they will always give you economic prescriptions that will favor them and will continue to throw the country into absolute state of capitalism. And the end product of capitalism is that the poor man is usually the oppressed, is the poor man that suffers it, is the poor man that bears the brunt. So their prescriptions are not new. It is the adoption of that same prescription that has kept us where we are. So what we are saying is this: what I am saying, and in light of what the trade union have proposed, is simply that let the government prioritize the issues of the man on the street, and that is simple.
Let's talk about what some more demands of the NNP, of the NLC and the TUC. Demanding that the federal government fixes refineries and also gas CNG installation, as well as filling stations. These are not projects that can be done within the shortest possible time. These are projects that require some time, medium term, projects, especially as the president had earlier said that between now and 2024, the first quarter of 2024, some of these projects would have come to light. The refinery in Port Harcourt's federal government has promised it would begin operations by December. perhaps the NLC wants to look at these promises because again, even if the federal government will say we're going to do this, they're also just going to make a promise to fix or get the CNG conversion units. It's also going to be a promise. It's not something that could be done overnight. So perhaps the NLC wants to look at this and maybe hold on for a while, because the organized private sector and the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria are also crying. If they say if the NLC goes on strike, it means that most of their workers may not be at work. Secondly, there is a possibility that they would rely on diesel to power their plants, which would also make life difficult for them, make their businesses crumble. The price of diesel now has reached over 1,000 naira. How will they survive? They're begging, and they're also appealing to NLC to shelve the strike. If NLC is really concerned and labor unions are really concerned about Nigerians and their welfare, shouldn't they consider some of these calls by the organized private sector who have nothing to do with government?
Now, these same organized private sectors that are speaking now, where were they when the government dished out policies? Where were they when the government made pronouncements? Where were they when the government...
They are also being affected by these pronouncements of government.
Now, if they are being affected, then they should also be considerate of the plight of their workers. Their workers are earning very little. Little that is not commensurate to the economic hardship.
Mr. Gado, the argument is
that cannot afford.
Can you hear me? The argument is that if you go on strike, they would still, the workers will still require them to pay even when they're not at work, and they are private organizations. So how would they? Because first of all, even if their workers want to get to work, they may not be able to get to work because the transport workers would also be on strike. So at the end of the day, they would be required to pay their staff who may not be at work within the period.
It is the ultimate sacrifice to pay for us to get a country working and functioning as it ought to. As I speak to you, there are people who go to work on Monday and will sleep in their offices till Friday before they come back home for the weekend. That is the situation of many workers, and even in so many private organizations, that is the situation. People go to work on Monday because they have some level of managerial dictatorship that mandate that even in the face of this hardship, they must come to work and remain at work every day. So what will they do when they don't have the money to foot the transport fare? So what they do is they go to work on Monday and they sleep at the workplace and ensure they come back during the weekend. That is the situation of many workers. If spoken outrightly enough, have they used their forum to speak to the government that, see, these are the things, please honor agreement, please do this? Have they been vocal enough? What we have, when things go wrong, and that is the position of the trade union, when things go wrong, everything, the ball falls on them. But these same employers, many of them are even worsening the situation of their employees. Many are worsening the situation of their employees. It is in this same country where many employees still earn less than, in private sector, earn less than 30,000 naira. Yet they must go to work. The economy is not favorable. They cannot even buy a measure of rice or a measure of beans. They must pay school fee of their children. They have dependents calling them at the end of every month to send certain things. And so they have become slaves. But you must know that these are situations that the average Nigerian today is suffering. And they must show the commitment if they are affected enough. They must show the commitment by speaking to the government, using their forum to speak to the government that please do the needful. We will be affected. That is what they should be calling. They should be speaking to the government to do the needful, not to the labor centers. We must get things right. And now is the time to make sure that the government will show some level of commitment. We know that some of these demands are long-term projects. But what we need, at least, at least in some level of commitment. That is all the labor unions are asking for. You call for a meeting, you organize you go to form a committee. You go for a meeting and the government will not honor the meeting. And even when they do, there is nothing tangible to discuss. There is no tangible plan or commitment to show that really we want to do this. Instead, what they want to do is to ensure that they waste your time and get away with it. And they have been patient enough. When things go wrong, nobody calls the government to order. Everybody is calling the union and telling them they have been compromised. Not forgetting that the same people who are accusing the labor unions of compromising are the same people that should be holding the government responsible. So who bears the brunt? Now these are the situations, and it is absolutely right. Because even in developed countries, recently we saw that Hollywood writers went on strike. In America, Hollywood writers went on strike. And within the shortest possible time, in less than 48 hours, it was addressed. And they went back to work.
Yeah.
But in Nigeria, it does not bother the government.
The strike in the United States, it's not peculiar to Nigeria, by the way. Even the automotive workers in the United States have been on protest. Even the president of the United States joined in that protest just yesterday or 2 days ago. But the screenwriters have been on strike for about 5 months. They recently just called off that strike about 48 hours ago or so. But the question now would be that at this point where it seems like NLC is enjoying the support of Nigerians, so many Nigerians are actually in support of NLC going on this strike. What happens if NLC backs down last minute like they've always done or they've done in the past, and also losing the trust and respect for that Nigerians have for them?
Well, I don't envisage that, and I don't want to. For whatever reason that the NLC and CUC have had to back out at the dying minute, it is because of some level of engagement and compromise in the demands that they may have reached. And in this regard, even when the declaration was given, a week-long declaration for the strike action, because the strike is proposed for Tuesday, what they have done is to give room for government to see how they can engage before then to avert the strike. They are not happy about the strike as well, but they are saying that we have given this long duration for the government to see the action of the government, to read the body language of the government. But as usual, the government has not shown anything to say, okay, we are going to do that. Instead, they are proposing for Tuesday when the strike is supposed to commence. So you can see that the government itself is not even ready. But what they have done is to say, okay, fine. Should there be some level of agreement over time? We'll have to reach a level of compromise and we call off. But if the government has not shown that, it tells you that at this point, the leadership itself is not ready to back down or to call off. But as it is, we keep our fingers crossed and hope that it will be the government will do the needful to advance the strike. I, for one, don't pray for the strike, but I wish that the government will key into this period. Today is enough period for the government to say, okay, please come, let's see how we can conclude this. Tomorrow, being Friday, government can say, please, even within the weekend, government can still call and say, please, let's see how we can avert it. But no sign at all. And they are proposing for Tuesday. So, we keep our fingers crossed.
One of the deputy presidents or leaders of the NLC had also, raised up a very big issue that affects the NLC, saying that the federal government is planning to sack about 17,000 workers within this period that, they're going through a difficult time and hardship. What do you make of that? Many people have said, look, the civil service is over bloated. This administration says they're going to take decisive actions to ensure that they fix the Nigerian economy. if this is the right move to make to be able to fix the Nigerian economy, the sacking of workers and reducing the wage burden and also the over bloated workforce that Nigeria supposedly has, wouldn't the NLC support? Shouldn't the NLC and the labor unions in general be in support of this move?
I am not in the minds of the government, nor in the minds of the leadership of the NLC. But one thing I know is that if you say you want to sack or disengage workers, there are processes to doing that. And the right thing to do would be to ensure that whoever you're going to disengage gets his full package. That is the benefits accrued to the individual. So even in private sector that is done, where they can just, but the thing is, if you're going to disengage, make sure the necessary benefits accrued to the individual are made available. But should that be done anyway, who do we blame for having over-bloated workforce? The trade union did not employ the people into the workforce. It is the government, through whatever means, that employed these persons into the workforce. And over time, we keep saying that we have over-bloated workforce. But yet we have a political class that is even far more over-bloated, even though they are quite few in number compared to the workforce. But what they take home is far more than what the average civil servant that is proposed, that is part over-bloated, tends to take home. So maybe at some point there should be a redefinition of what we actually want to term as over-bloated. Is it over-bloated in terms of the number or over-bloated in terms of the financial package and all of that? Look at what the average political class takes home and get an aggregate of what the average workforce takes home and make a comparison, and then we get to know. But having said all of that, the government now feels that, okay, we have over-bloated workforce, we want to restructure as I've always been. We know that we know the committee report in the Obasanjo regime who made similar proposal, and so many of proposals have come after that. And the trade union position have always been clear. Yes, you want to start if you in the name of restructuring. If you're going to do that, the available provision must be made. But there are processes to doing all of that. You don't wake up arbitrarily to say, okay, you are going to disengage. There are processes and procedures. And so if that is going to be done, the trade union must also be in the know, must also be stakeholders in the process that they are.
Very well. Well, the conversation continues. We're going to be talking more with Mr. Titus Gado, and we'll also bring you in to share your thoughts with us on 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. It's Eagles Outlook, and we've been talking about the insistence of the NLC to go on strike. We'll be talking all the issues shortly. Keep on here with us.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Yanga Lotto don't come. Come chop better prices every day with only 100 naira. I know they want you. Every day, people get chance to win. Bone straight hair, iPhones, Samsung phone unko, iPad, laptops, TV, and many orishi them for 100 naira. In Kechi, where you day. Yet Sunday, where that's your 100 naira change. Oga Yanga don't come. Yanga Lotto don't land. With just 100 naira, if it be you, play Yanga Lotto today. Yanga Lotto, do Yanga.
Oga Yanga madam, make we do the Yanga. Like say we chop in Maka, brother, waiting with the matter. Won't you make it Yanga? Yanga Lotto, which come chop it Yanga.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Thank you for sticking with us on your radio experience. You can count on It's Eagles Outlook. We've been discussing the NLC and its insistence on a nationwide strike, shutting down the economy. They say they will do come October 3, 2023. My guest has been Mr. Titus Gada, who is a sociologist, a public affairs analyst as well, joining us this morning. Feel free to be a part of the conversation now. Call 09073530044 and 09087668888. Don't forget, you can watch us live on YouTube and on Facebook. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Right, it seems like we lost connection with that one. Hello. Again, another dropped call. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Mr. Prince.
Good morning, Moses. Good to have you.
We really missed your first episode.
I'm really sorry about that. I apologized earlier.
Thank you. I hope there's no problem.
No, all is well now. All is well now.
I want to appreciate your guest over there. He really made an analysis that really be of a help to what they are planning. My take is that we Nigerians were in support of that strike. We are not going back. If other private sectors will say that there is no need of shutdown, there is no need of strike, whatsoever they say, you cannot get any financial income except through workers, government workers and private workers. That one is sure. Because if monies are not coming through these people, no matter how sellers, marketers in the market sells, they can't get any income. So going on strike holistically is one of the best. Then my question to your guest is that how many manifestos or their requests have they put before the government? How many of them have they accepted? How many of them do they reject before they are going on strike? Let us know what they have put in place before the government. That is one thing. Then do they include security, insecurity in our nation, in their mind? Because many workers have been affected in this insecurity. Because the problem we have in this country today is insecurity. Many of our workers today have been affected. Kidnapping and innocent. Can they have the record of many workers who lost their life in this issue of insecurity? So let us know the manifestos, what they have kept before the government. The one the government accepted, the one that they accepted before they are going on strike. Let us know the numbers of what they have put or present before the government. Then we are 100% supporting them for this strike. So we are concerned about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for calling, Moses. Let's get to another caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Yana Shaw.
Good morning, Okwi. Good to have you.
Good morning. I agree to your guest. Issue of NLC Nigeria Labour Congress. I have told Nigeria, me, I don't hide my friend. I have told Nigeria that in the night, NLC, they will become APC members. In the daytime, they will become NLC. So that should not deceive us. We have been following Nigerian politics before. If you can recall, this is what Adam Ochemole did during Obasanjo. Then he played that politics and get money. Go and contest Edo State governor under AC. Are you hearing me? So it's the same role they are playing now. That should so deceiving us. After they go and discuss with Mr. President and the APC, after they come and tell us, go to media house and say Nigeria, so they can't deceive us any longer. So we don't trust NLC. In the night, they have become APC members. In the daytime, they have become Nigeria Labour Congress. And I want to say kudos to Nigerians. Yes, Nigerians, you voted change in 2015. Thank you. Congratulations. Kudos. That change will continue following you. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, Okwi. Let's bring in another caller before my guest, Johnson again. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my dear brother Henna.
Good morning.
My name is Alami. I'm calling from Kwarimpa. I greet our guest. I still have some questions for our guest. Yesterday, the question I asked, unfortunately, I didn't answer. So, and this conversation is still almost around the same thing. I hope our guest can hear me. Sir, I'm a civil servant myself, and I do not support salary increments as much as I want the government to put in infrastructure in place, like setting up in what I call a National Pricing Regulatory Commission to checkmate the high rate of inflation in the land. Because even if you're paying me 200 as a civil servant, it makes little or no impact, because the unregulated market at the end of the day will also wake up and say they are increasing their price, because after all, the government has increased salary for less than 5% of the Nigerian, population. And then on the tax exemption as well, these are the demand of the NLC and the TUC. Tax exemption for some cadres of the civil servants. Now, what are the productivity level of the civil servants compared to the informal sector? Do not forget, sir, that the informal sector contributes over 70% of our national GDP. Now, should NLC be asking for tax exemption for only civil servants, also be advocating and extending their dragnet to the entrepreneurs, the business owners who are, taxpayers and employers of labor? Giving them tax holidays will give them more opportunity to save more funds and expand their business, and also recruit, more hands, and, create more jobs opportunities. So if you look at it vis-a-vis, the reality of our dear nation, I think NLC is only, wants the Nigerian government to collapse our economic, capacity just to favor the less than 5% of the workforce. And I can promise you, on the 17,000 alleged, people to be sacked, we saw what happened in Kaduna State, when the governor of Kaduna, the former governor, wanted to reform the civil service. That over, majority, large percentage of the service is redundant. The same is at federal level. We are producing young and vibrant graduates every day, but the old people in the civil service do not want to give room. There was a time, when other countries they are asking for reducing retirement, Nigeria here they are asking for more years in service. So if you continue to keep redundant, unproductive, and analog, unmotivated, civil servants who are supposed to be the engine room of the government, and then you are overlooking the large population where fresh graduates with the recent, with the updated capacity in terms of IT and other facilities. Are you going to favor retaining old and redundant civil servants over sacking and then bringing in fresh blood into the
Thank
system?
you, Alamin. Thank you very much, Alamin, for your contribution. Mr. Gado, you heard the callers. Let's start off by, let's talk about, first of all, Okwi, who says, people like him do not believe in the NLC and their struggle, that most of the time it's just a way to line their pockets so that they can also transition into and become politicians, just like the likes of Adams Oshomole. What do you think? How do you respond to such fears by Nigerians?
Well, the fears are not unfounded. They are fears that, in fact, everyone has the right to exercise such fears. And the fact that we have had labor leaders who eventually transited into joining the mainstream politics and have not proven to be any different from the people they fought while they were still wearing the comradeship title. But having said that, the fact is that I believe so much in this leadership. I don't know why. The fact that the leadership has been headstrong, irrespective of all forms of accusations and malignancy, that they have remained focused. Yes, things may have gone bad over the years, but even in the labor circle, we must accept the fact that there are processes to labor negotiations, labor collective bargaining. And it is only in the right sense of labor principle that when certain agreements are reached, because the fact is that you can never get it 100%. In fact, you may not even get it 80%. So whatever proposal that is made, you have to, at some point, have to shift ground, and the other party also shifts ground. And if you feel that this is acceptable, fine, you can decide to do otherwise. So that has been the case, and that is what it is. If at the end of the day, the government shows some level of commitment to say, okay, this is what we are bringing to the table, considering every other factor economically and socially, the labor also brings certain issues to the table, and they see that, okay, we can make do with what has been presented. Fine, it can be accepted. But the fears are quite true. We are saying it. At some point, we also had such fears. And the truth is, yes, but I want to believe, let's keep faith with the current leadership. And maybe sometimes these things are because these fears are actually on the basis of not understanding some of the workings of labors.
Okay.
In fact, if you don't understand the working of the law, you are bound to want to believe such. Carry such fears.
Alamin says, well, he doesn't. He as a civil servant, he doesn't want, salary increments. What he wants is infrastructure, and he goes on to say that the federal government should be able to let go of old people who have been in the service and inject fresh blood. But then I would argue personally to say, if we're speaking of that in the civil service, we also should be looking at, even people in government, the politicians. But anyway, how do you respond?
It was some time ago, I laughed at the irony of Nigeria as against the reality in Western society. I think it was in France or which other country where they had to increase their retirement age and they were protesting. But in Nigeria, it is reversed. You find that people even want their retirement age to be, increased. While over there, people want the retirement age to be reduced. Then you begin to ask, why is that so? Why? Over the years, you have had persons in government who have been revolving around the same age for a good number of years. So instead of them to accept their real age, in fact, they go about changing their age just to remain in active service where they are no longer active. That has been the case, and it's very, very, in fact, there are cases that are quite in the known. In the same way, even in the political circle, there are people who have continued to claim certain age that we are not. But as much as there is no retirement age in the political circle, we cannot apply the same in the civil service, and I think it is very important. And that is why I said that should the government even want to do that form of rationalization in terms of restructuring or doing away with certain workforce, priority should be given to some age bracket. It's very important. Some age bracket, some redundant, some productivity factor should also be considered. So it is very important when that is to be done. It is important we have teaming graduates. Unfortunately, we don't get to produce the same number of jobs every year. So it is very important when the government should even want to do that. Labor must also be considered as a stakeholder, so they can bring up certain measures, certain parameters for which that can be done. Because look at the case in Kaduna State, like we cited some time ago. Kaduna State embarked on massive retrenchment based on certain advices to the government. And as I speak to you, sir, Kaduna State has a teeming level of retrenched workforce that don't have access to their benefits. Why? Because the state does not even have the money to pay their gratuity and pension. That is the case in Kaduna. The government arbitrarily sacks workers, and at the end of the day, there is no money to pay them. Even their pension, the pension they contributed, they don't have access to it because there is no money. Even to pay gratuity, many don't have. There are cases of some directors in Kaduna State who retired and they are told that all they can get is about 1 to 2 million naira. So these are the cases. So the government must do that. Labour must be made part of the committee to provide certain policy inputs for which that can be done. And the issue of salary, we not believing in salary and proposing that infrastructure, yes, it is a good one, but at the immediate, what we are looking at is, has the government shown commitment to infrastructural development over the years? Yes, we are beginning to have some level of commitment. But when we talk about the issue, infrastructural, the increase in the prices of commodities is not based on infrastructure. It is based on the monetary gains or the monetary take home of the people.
Okay.
If today you are earning a measure of beans is selling for 1,000 naira and the person is earning a paltry 30,000 naira per month, what does he do? Is it infrastructure he will use to pay school fees? Is it infrastructure he will use to pay hospital bills. These are some of the issues.
All right.
It's very
Let's look at some of the messages. On Facebook, we have Ohi Onigbe. Ohi, shout out to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. You say, people are not trees. Citizens have a right to react to the stimulus from the government's callous policies. A strike is definitely needed right now. We need to put the government on its toes. Thank you so much for the compliment, Ohi. And Felicity Fishim says, Ihanacho, the government of the government that is irresponsible. I take that again. The government that is responsible for the strike, NLC and TUC, is emphatically embarking on is the same government responsible for the economic shackles we're in. Tulu Alokbe, thank you very much for that message. Let's get to some of your messages on WhatsApp and those of you who sent in messages. Okay, let's see. For those of you who are here on WhatsApp, Abdullahi Mekano, the government can only mention recession when it comes to the national issues, but the personal issues always regard and considered first. But they are personal issues, I'm guessing. They are personal issues always regarded and considered first. You can't have a just you can't have justice where criminals make law. Thank you very much, Abdullahi Mekano. Do we have time for more calls? Let's squeeze in one more caller and then we get back to my guest and wrap it up. 09073530044 and 09087668888. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. This is Frederick calling you from Jabi.
Frederick, go ahead. Let's hear you, please. You have 1 minute to make your submission.
Yeah, I see you guest. It's been wonderful. Sir, let me tell you, we support ENLC with whatsoever intention they have, because the fact that this APC government that has crippled everything in Nigeria has been the source of the problems of Nigeria. Can you imagine, for the past 8 years, upon all the debt today, about 8 something trillion or so in Nigeria, if all they could do was to collect loans everywhere in this world, they couldn't fix the refinery. One single refinery for 8 years. One single refinery for 8 years. They've collected loans everywhere, every part of this world. Where was of all they are talking about infrastructure? Where is the infrastructure? Where are the infrastructure in Nigeria? If all APC, the past and the present government would talk, was opposition, they couldn't fix Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Look at our economy. It's gone from 186 to 200 to 1,000 today. Where's the infrastructure? Where our political class are just here exploiting every resources as what Nigeria produces. And you are telling Nigerians to be patient, pleading with Nigerians to tighten their belt just because of your indecision. Today the inflation has risen up to whatever. Whose fault? Their fault. They are part of the problem. They don't have solutions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Frederick.
How can you?
Thank you very much.
How can you understand what I mean?
Thank you very much, Mr. Frederick.
APC with a whole of our heart. They should do whatever they could, because this is just the best time.
All right.
It is calling on them to do something. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gado, what would be your final thoughts as we close? You've heard the likes of Mr. Frederick giving full support and maximum support to the NLC to go on this strike, even though the likes of Alamin do not agree. What are your final thoughts?
All right. I get emotional when I talk about the issues of Nigeria and the issues of governance. It hits me so much because I don't understand why things are the way they are. The issues of refinery, we know our refineries have been redundant over the years. The government have not shown commitment. Someone asked what are the issues that the NLC is presenting. Wage award is there. Alternative to fuel is there, which is the CNG, which the government have not shown any level of commitment. So many other issues, even in terms of the issue of public transport, nothing is on ground. The only state that has shown some level of commitment on its own part as a state government is Borno State, by providing public transport. Every other state, we have not seen anything yet. But the point is this: Nigerians must know that as the curtain draws, as the days draws very close to the strike action, government has a tactic that they will always use. They will pay some form of media influencers to start some campaign of calumny against the leadership of trade unions. But we must understand that if the government has failed over the years, and now trade union has always is standing to fight for us, what do we now have to lose? What do we have to lose? Let's show some level of faith to an extent this time around to ensure that we get things working. It is not against any government, it is not against any individual or ethnic group. It is just about Nigeria and getting Nigeria back on track.
All right.
I wish us a wonderful time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Titus Gatto is a sociologist and a public affairs analyst and commentator joining us on the program this morning. Thank you so much. It's been a privilege and honor talking with you. And I would say thank you to everyone who has been a part of the conversation. Thank you so much for being there. We'll continue to talk about our nation and see how we move it forward into a better place where Nigerians don't have to suffer, where our currency would not be devalued almost on a monthly basis, and would have to continue to grapple with economic crisis. We hope that day would come when Nigerians wouldn't have to pay so much for crude, for PMS or for diesel and any of those things that they produce. Stay with us here on your radio experience. You can count on Mata takes over shortly. Before then, business news. My name is Iheanacho Prince. His radio